The V2 turret was initially designed in 2020, initially designed to counter off large farm bots and large groups of small farm bots. It would fire a single projectile at long to mid range that would be far larger range than any spud gun could reach it from. The projectile could reach up to 1,000 blocks at maximum range. The V2 small turret was designed for closer range than the large one. It was designed for medium to short range to take out large farm bots and vehicles, which just at this point were starting to become a problem. It was designed in the third month of 2020 by, well, I can't say the name, but it was by a person, and it was made inside of Kingdom A to fight off large vehicles, large groups of enemies, etc. It was also attached to larger vehicles for offensive purpose, to take on large kingdoms, buildings, and other things. It can store up to 3 rounds and can shoot to very long range. However, it did often misfire and explode, so this was a flaw. The V1 automatic turret was an AI-controlled turret that would spin around and instantly shoot at anything it saw. It had extreme accuracy for the time, and to this day has not been replicated. It is unknown which group has designed this turret. All we know is it's extremely fast, extremely accurate, and was able to kill a farm bot in under 10 seconds at max. It is very, very efficient, but was taken out of commission due to reasons unknown. The V1 movable turret was a creature designed for flipping over small buildings and running over bots. It was quickly learned that due to the torque, the sheer amount of damage it can output, and its accuracy to anything in front of it, it was used often against vehicles for these purposes. It was also very efficient at destroying cardboard structures, which, at the time, were only made because people didn't have enough money to afford metal, scrap metal, or concrete. The vehicle was very efficient and very, very powerful, and very, very fast. It was also learned that if you flip it, due to unknown reasons, the suspension inside of it would glitch, and it would flip it upwards, and it would speed off, allowing it to easily escape if it took too much damage. Decommissioned 2020, 3rd month. The battle mech is the first in a long line of mech suits. It was designed initially for cutting down trees, but they soon learned it could be way better for combat purpose. It was moved on for combat purpose in 2020, 5th month. They replaced the saws with a sword and replaced its hand with a shield, allowing it to move at extremely fast rate using thrusters on its back. Its only flaw was of how fast it absorbed fuel. It could not be flipped permanently, it could not be destroyed easily due to the shield, and spuds did nothing as there was no cardboard alternative version of it. It was extremely efficient in combat and was used in the 5th month of 2020 to take out a large kingdom. The mech was initially designed for tree cutting, but soon became a battle mech. And this had started a long, long history of battle mech suits used in combat, some automated, some not. It was decommissioned in the 10th month of 2020 due to reasons unknown, though it is suspected that's due to it constantly stepping on landmines and being too fast to turn quickly. It couldn't turn quick, and its reflexes were slow, but it did a lot of damage. And it ran quite fast. Faster than a car, even. Next. The wheel is a strange case, as, once again, we do not know who invented it initially. But we do know how it worked and what it was used for. The wheel was initially used as a movement vehicle, meant for rolling and moving heavy objects out of the way. Once the wars started, the wheel was then used for rolling over enemy tanks and enemy vehicles. It moved too fast for landmines to react, as by the time they exploded, it was already long gone. It was able to run over large things, such as walls, trees, rocks, other things. It was initially used in the 5th month of 2020, was discontinued in the 1st month of 2021. This would be one of the last big innovations during 2020. And from here on, we're moving over to the next year. The first sea vehicle, or creative vehicle, was based on the game Minecraft, of being able to fly around in creative mode and do basically anything you want. However, it was quickly learned that it could be used for much more than just messing around. These vehicles were extremely agile. In the first version, it featured 2 water cannons, 6 spud guns, 2 pistons, and it was very fast. It had extreme agility, extreme mobility, and very high damage. Though not as much as for per se the mech, it could indeed take down many things. It was most useful against the wild bots, which at the time were quite annoying to deal with. It was initially made by Cardboard Kingdom 2021, and it was used until 2021 5th month. The vehicle was extremely useful, but it did cost a lot to run and to produce. It was decommissioned, and then they looked into making a newer version. The second version was a new version of the sea vehicle. It was designed with 4 to 6 pistons each design, with 4 spud guns, 2 turning controls, and about 4 pistons. Or no, not pistons, rockets, whatever they're called. However, it was much more vulnerable than the initial version. It was also much more agile and much faster. It didn't have any water guns to stun enemies. However, they were decided to not be needed, as they realized just killing things before stunning them was much more efficient. It would fly at around 100 blocks every, I'd say, about 5 seconds. Once again, these weren't good times, so we didn't have accurate stats. It was ran on the 5th month of 2021 to the end of 2021. 2022's first creation featured a giant space-made vehicle, but you may notice one thing. There's no metal version of it. It was designed purely out of cardboard, which made it extremely vulnerable. However, it could take a lot of damage before falling down. You could blow off half of it, and as long as you didn't hit the direct front or direct back, then it would fly. It was made for storing many materials and for flying for very long durations. It was used in 2020 all the way to 2023. It was extremely useful and was decommissioned on the 5th month, 2023. The folding car. This is another odd one out, as we're not sure who created it. All we know is it was created by a YouTuber under the name theese.
That's me.
And this vehicle was decently fast, featured 2 spud guns, 4 wheels, and was decommissioned in 2024 due to technical reasons and lack of resource. The V1 Trap was the first ever trap design by people. It was quickly replaced by the landmines, which we unfortunately couldn't get a model of, but the trap was very simple. It would be dropped out of an aircraft, it would unfold, it would aim its gun at anything it sees and then shoot. It also featured saws, which would scare off bots so it couldn't be destroyed, allowing it to be made of most materials. However, players were not easily scared by the saws, as they still had guns and vehicles that would just roll over the saws. This machine was quickly thrown away once people realized of how often it would misfire and how inefficient it was in fuel. The Boss Fight Fighter was a design made for killing farm bots. It was used in 2022 to 2023 against fighting large farm bots and clearing out areas so that many structures could be made. Because of its behavior, it could quickly be rewired to cut down trees instead of bots. It was very efficient, but was very vulnerable to other players using vehicles, and could be easily flipped. The unfolders are versions of the V1 turret that were designed to unfold and then start shooting. They had many designs, most were dropped out of planes, but they would be dropped out, unfold. These were used the whole time. They were never decommissioned. The V1 large turret is a version of the V2 large turret, but the initial version, since we accidentally showed V2 first. But the V1 large turret was manned by a single building, made for very, very long range. It was made 1 month before the V2, and was designed to throw explosives as far as physically possible without getting near. This was before the time of automated machinery and before the time of computing in the scrap mechanic, made by the Sea Kingdom. The V1 Trap, or no, V2 Trap, I guess, I'm not really sure what you want to call it, is a odd one again, because once again, we don't know who exactly made it. But what it would do is it would be walked up to, and you'd switch 2 switches on the back. Once they were switched, if it detected anything in front of it, it would spread out, shoot out in a 40-degree angle in front of it, and blow up everything about 50 blocks away. It was very fast, very dangerous, and extremely powerful against mechs, vehicles, and bots. However, by now, bots were starting to be extinct. It was made 2023 to 2024. The V1 anti-air vehicle was the first time people started fighting against air vehicles specifically, and the first time a machine was made purely for that purpose. What it would do is it had a switch, and if it detected something above it, it would fling itself towards it, spread out to cover a large area, and it would explode. It was inefficient against spaceships, but it was very efficient against smaller aircraft, such as planes, jumping cars, and other things. This was the start of the anti-air war. It was made in 2024 by an unknown party but suspected to be a member of the Sea Kingdom to fight against aircraft. The V1 automated tank was the first automated tank, which makes sense by the name. However, unlike the V1 turret hunter, this one would mostly be a distraction. It would drive forward, shoot randomly, and would distract enemy lines while the soldiers could sneak behind. It is used today. This mech was the first automated mech. Called the Lazy Boy due to its lean-back posture, it was designed, again, based off the tank, to move forward and shoot randomly. However, this one shot so many rounds, it could destroy entire small villages with just a few of them. It was run in 2024 month 1 to 2024 month 5. Is not sure where it came from, but suspected once again to be from the Sea Kingdom. The V2 automated mech is a gigantic mech with glowing green objects all over it. Run by an unknown power source, it was designed to simply destroy anything in its way. Manned by an AI, ran with a small CPU, it would move forward, it was able to destroy things, and it was able to level cities. With a large turret in one hand, its other arm was for flipping large and heavy structures, such as tanks. The first version, however, was destroyed by the Sea Kingdom in 2024, recently. The last thing on today's list is an automated car. The automated car was a tiny little thing that would drive extremely fast and would shoot randomly. Unlike the other distraction vehicles, though, this one would wait until it rammed into something before it would detonate with extreme force. The explosion would be enough to rip a hole in a building, and it was set on a timer. This was the last creation made 1 day ago. Goodbye, viewers. Have a nice day.